Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan.
Drip, snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Like I said, okay. Oh, that's right. That is a topic that I wanted to talk about this morning. Let's address this quickly. Okay.
You just know anytime that DSP says that he's going to address something quickly, it's actually going to be the exact opposite, and he's going to talk about it for ages.
All right. Let's very quickly address something that's been going on recently. All right. Now, if you haven't noticed, this year I made an absolutely concerted effort to stay out of drama.
Well, you really failed the mission then, DSP, because I swear to God, you do a drama segment at least once every other week, sometimes once a week. And I don't mean to self-plug, but there are multiple videos on my channel where he specifically called out other content creators and talked poorly about them. If that isn't drama, I don't know what is. And unfortunately, I wasn't making content during the summer when he was trying to start beef with LTG out of nowhere. But just because I didn't cover it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. So apparently, despite his concerted effort to stay out of drama, he failed miserably. But I'm sure that he'll convince his dents that it was a resounding success.
Earlier this year, I got goaded into an interview that at face value looked like it was going to be fair, and then immediately when the interview ended, it became completely unfair and it became a big attack against me for personal gain.
I'm sure most of you are aware, but he's addressing the Side Scrollers interview that he did earlier this year. But I do want to point out the thing that he's talking about being completely unfair after the interview ended was them just reading and addressing the super chats that they were given throughout the interview. And yes, when the super chats asked questions, they gave their thoughts on it. But what were they supposed to do? Just not talk about it? DSP, nobody needs your permission to talk about you, especially after they just did an interview with you and they asked you a bunch of questions. If anybody's allowed to talk about you, it's the person who just had an interaction with you. An interaction for the entire public to see, as a matter of fact.
It was fucked up the way it happened, and I told you guys that I learned my lesson. I wasn't going to involve myself with drama and all this other shit anymore for the rest of the year. I wanted to pull you guys out of that drama, correct? That's what I told you, and that's been my goal.
But DSP, it's very clear that your audience likes drama. And it's very clear as well that you love it. You revel in it. You just sound silly pretending that something that is so obvious isn't true.
About a month after that, I got contacted behind the scenes by Boogie, or a representative of Boogie, about wanting to do a podcast together. And I said, why not? Why wouldn't we do that? As long as it's something positive that we're working on together and we do a show together and we talk about topics and it seems like it would be constructive and positive for our audiences, I'm totally okay with it. Sounds good to me, especially if there's no Keemstar involvement, because I don't want to be involved with that toxic jerk, because all he wants to do is create drama and that's not what I'm about, right? I'll be involved in that.
Guys, let me know in the comments if I've got my timeline messed up. But wasn't it Keemstar's idea originally to have Boogie and Wings and DSP on a podcast together? And DSP was just trying to steal Keemstar's idea and not involve him at all? Because that's the way that I remember it. And if that's the case, it's crazy that he would call Keemstar a toxic jerk after DSP's the one who's stealing other people's ideas. But like I said, let me know if I'm wrong here. And if I am wrong, I apologize for being dented.
All right? Within a month of that happening, what happens? Boogie and Wings, who are involved, decide they want a payday. So instead of actually, being men about it, they turn around completely on what they said and offered, what they wanted to do, and they decide that they want to work with Keemstar to make money. So they did.
He says that they wanted to make money like it's a bad thing. As if he doesn't get on stream every single day and beg for money because he wants the money. Also, of course, they want money for a show that they're gonna do. DSP was acting as if he wasn't gonna make any money off of the podcast. And they tried to include DSP when they went to Keemstar. They tried to help DSP get that bag. But DSP's just too stubborn and pig-headed. He throws away and laughs in the face of every single opportunity that he's given.
So they did their stupid fight, which was a complete joke.
Not only was it more exercise, but also more entertaining than anything that you'll ever do. Say what you want about Boogie and Wings, but to actually have the follow through to get in the ring in front of all of those people and do what they did, not that it was very impressive, but still to do what they did, I mean, DSP couldn't dream of it. DSP would never have the courage to do anything of the sort.
And they were supposed to do a podcast with Keemstar. That's completely fallen through and is never going to happen. What a big surprise that they went with the toxic guy and it all fell apart. What a shocking twist that this would happen. Like, there was totally no signs that doing business with Keemstar would blow up in their face and not work out for them, right? There's no way they could have possibly known that. Unbelievable, right?
What an absolute arrogant piece of trash this guy is. Just that little chuckle on the end as he's laughing at other people's misfortune irritates me so much. The absolute scum that you have to be to laugh at two people who took a larger payday when they need the money instead of working with your bum ass is astounding. And are we really gonna sit here and act like that anybody that worked with DSP came out the better for it? He single-handedly screwed over every single person he's ever worked with. Not one person that's ever entered DSP's life has left it any better. better. Every individual in every company that he's ever had an interaction with actually was worse for it. Regardless of what they made working with Keemstar, at least their name got out there to some extent. Working with DSP though, not only would your name not have gotten out there at all, because DSP's a clown, but you also would have made no money and he'd have screwed you over by the end anyway. But I just don't see how you can laugh in the face of two people who tried to include you in making a large sum of cash. It just baffles me, man.
So anyway, after all that complete nonsensical stuff, okay, going on, I outright told you guys I want no involvement with these people ever again because they're not trustworthy. These are people who will say one thing and then do another as long as it basically in the short term gives them some kind of personal gain.
This is from the guy who just a couple of days ago said that he was taking back control and he wasn't going to be begging anymore, and then proceeded to beg literally the following day, if not that night. The same person who went on a rant about how save scumming is an unacceptable practice for someone who's trying to entertain an audience to do, but save scums every single retro video game that he's pretty much ever played on YouTube. The same guy who used to absolutely shit on reaction channels, calling them unoriginal, bottom of the barrel content, the easiest shit on the planet to make, and then proceeded to open up a reaction channel so that he could double dip on memberships. And it's the worst reaction channel I've ever seen, might I add. The dude gives the 1,000-yard stare to every single piece of content and winds up skipping almost all of it anyway. DSP, you are the definition of saying one thing and then doing something else as long as it provides you some sort of short-term personal gain.
You know, there's a saying from Final Fantasy VI. I heard he'd slit his mama's throat for a nickel. Some people are like that. Some people for short-term gain, they will literally do whatever they possibly can, and it doesn't matter who they hurt, who they screw over, who they treat like dirt.
That's you though, DSP. I can say this till I'm blue in the face. You've screwed over every single person you've worked with. The most disgusting of all was everybody that worked on Project 7 got screwed over. Even the one person who did get paid didn't receive the amount of money that they were supposed to and had to weasel his way to get it out of you. You were making money hand over fist on YouTube at the time and you couldn't even pay the people who were working with you in person. People that you were friends with, that you knew in real life. John Rambo was your one true love and everybody knows that, and you still screwed him over.
You know, during that time period, you had guys like Boogie going on social media slandering me. When have I ever said a negative word about Boogie?
Well, DSP, you almost cost him their payday. So I would imagine he was probably pretty pissed about that, and justifiably so. But I'm pretty sure that the thing that he's referencing specifically is the tweet that Boogie put out after the boxing match. He said something like, everybody's a winner except for DSP. Like I said, I can't be 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure that that's what he's talking about because he's brought that up specifically before. I believe even in this context of when did I talk shit about you before? And he absolutely did talk shit about Boogie before that because the entire drama unfolded obviously before the boxing match actually happened. There was many times that he brought up both Boogie and Wings and Keemstar. Obviously all negative because the guy never talks about any other content creator in a positive light whatsoever. But the gins rotted away his brain so bad he can't even remember yesterday, let alone months ago.
Right? But he was going on social media insulting me publicly and people were telling me about it. I was like, I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to clap back. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to ignore it all and I'm going to continue on this year with my content, with my positivity, and it worked.
It's probably a good idea that you didn't clap back though, DSP, because anything that you think is a heavy hitter is always the lamest shit on the planet. Case in point, every single time that he singles out one of his viewers in the chat and derides them publicly. If you want an example, self-plug here, go check out my short on 672's public humiliation. Just the way he fumbles through his words, it would be better done by a child. But of course, DSP decided that he was going to remove himself from the situation and ignore it, which means that he's just going to be a bitch and cower, because that's one of DSP's biggest personality traits. He's a delusional, narcissistic coward through and through. There's a reason the guy only leaves his house once a week.
I had so much to do this year, you know, the premiere of Street Fighter 6 and me getting back into competitive fighting games and me reinvigorating that gaming content and everything. It went well.
He just acts as if that's some big to do. Dude, you played Street Fighter 6 for what, 3 months? And even then you didn't play it consistently. You played it off and on. A little too much for my taste. In fact, a lot of too much for my taste. But it wasn't like you were running a bunch of events. It wasn't like you were actually putting in any work at all. You were doing the same amount of streaming that you always do. You were just playing ranked online. It's not some special feat.
So I didn't need drama this year. I didn't need to do drama content. I didn't need to do any of that shit. Things went well this year, okay? And I'm happy because that's the thing. I can stand on my own laurels and say, I did not have to stoop to the level that these other people had to do. If you're a content creator and the only way that you can be pertinent or relevant is drama. If someone else has a bad day, you're having a good day. If the only time anyone really tunes into your content is because you're creating drama, you're not a content creator. You understand? You're not. You have nothing of value to add to this universe.
If you don't know, DSP's pre-stream typically gets more views than his actual gameplay does. Do you want to know why that is? I'm sure you could guess why. It's because people are tuning in to see if he's going to go on some unhinged segment during his pre-stream, either bringing up drama or begging straight up. That's why people tune into the pre-stream and not the gameplay. I'm one of those people, actually. I don't ever watch his gameplay. I can't stand it. He's god awful at video games. The only gameplay I ever see from DSP is just by happenstance because it's in the background during one of the clips. So DSP sitting here and acting like people actually care about his gameplay content is just absurd when he loses about half of his viewing membership as soon as he actually goes to play a video game.
You're just a fucking fart. And you're gonna eventually clear away and no one will smell you anymore, right?
Just want to remind you, this is a 41-year-old man talking about farts. Come on, man.
I strove this year to prove that I had value because the content that I make has value to my core audience. The gameplay, the react style stuff that I'm doing, I'm staying away from drama. Do you understand? On purpose. I want nothing to do with it.
Does DSP get all of his self-value from how people perceive his content on the internet? Because he specifically said that he set out to prove that he has value because people find his content valuable. First off, that's incredibly sad, DSP. I think there's a lot more to life than just the internet, and there's definitely a lot more to life than being on YouTube and making content for it. I think you might want to get off of the internet for a little bit and go value something in your real life. And I said real life, not go look at more pictures of Hulk Hogan on your phone. Secondly, I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to get all of your value from your content specifically because you put out actual ass content, dude. I know I don't have to tell you guys and that I'm preaching to the choir, but Jesus Christ, if I was DSP and all of my self-worth came from my YouTube videos, let's just say I wouldn't be on this planet no more.
I just want to make gameplay, to chill with you guys, to do some fun react stuff every once in a while for good variety, and that's it. Do not want to be involved with these people whatsoever. I don't want to be roped into their nonsense. Do you understand? And I've done so much this year to do that, all right? And I hope that you guys understand that I've worked very hard this year to stay out of it, all right?
Well, DSP, all of your hard work didn't pay off because you name drop content creators in a negative light at least once a week, which is absolutely 100% undeniably drama. Whether you decide to actually believe that or admit it is completely irrelevant, it's drama.
So one thing that's happening now, I guess supposedly, there's some documentary out there about Boogie that just came out.
You gotta love him pretending not to know what's going on. He 100% knows that it's a documentary that was released on Boogie. I don't know why he decides to play dumb on things like this. He acts like he doesn't know what anybody's talking about, but then is gonna specifically say that Wings watched it. Spoiler alert, sorry, it's literally coming up. But when he acts dumb like that, it just makes him look like a liar. And he does that to himself.
And people are like, oh, let's talk about it in Phil's chat. And let's fucking talk about, because Wings of Redemption watched it and reacted to it, and he got extra views on his channel and shit like that. Okay, I don't care.
Okay, DSP, you might not care about these people anymore, but clearly the people in your audience do. And if a bunch of people in your audience all care about the same thing, they might just be talking about it in your chat. I mean, obviously they should know that that's a bannable offense because you're not allowed to talk about anything but DSP and the game specifically. Everything else is off the table. Don't even go there. And of course they're going to bring it up to you because not only is it Boogie who you've had an interaction with, but Wings watched it as well. Those are two people that you've had an interaction with. Two people that you might have personally introduced to your audience.
I don't care about these people. Do you not understand? I couldn't care less about these people. They had their chance to actually be considered as like nice, rational people. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. They treated me like shit for personal gain, so they can get fucked.
But how did they treat you like shit when they tried to bring you in on the show with Keemstar to get paid? I just can't follow that logic. It doesn't make any sense to me. The sum of money that they were going to get if you would have been on the show was absolutely ludicrous for what it was. They tried to get you that bag and you absolutely squandered it. You fumbled the bag, you buffoon.
And I don't give two shits what happens to them, and I don't care about how many documentaries are made about them. I don't give a fuck if they got launched off of this planet in a cannon and we never saw them again. It doesn't matter. They are completely non-connected to me in any way.
Except they're going to be connected to you for the rest of time, DSP. Whether you like it or not, they're part of the lore now. And every single time you mention them, even in segments like this, you're further cementing them into the lore. Don't blame me, I don't write the lore books, I just keep them.
I have nothing to do with them. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to watch documentaries about them. I want nothing to do with it at all. Do you understand? Because I've been getting now messages from people, well, if Wings reacted to the documentary, is Phil going to react to the documentary? Because he totally should do that, because he'll get lots of extra views and money. And no.
I mean, you probably should actually react to it, DSP. I don't think that's a horrible idea. I mean, you've already reacted to the June the King videos about both of them, I believe, and you've already watched the Down the Rabbit Hole on Wings. Why wouldn't you take a second to capitalize on the situation and give your audience not only what they want, but also make money doing it? And you might actually have interesting insight for once in your life during one of the React videos because you had a personal interaction with the person who's the subject of the documentary. But no, of course not. You'd rather just watch a bunch of food videos on your React so that everyone could be bored to tears and grossed out.
It's called drama. It's called the lowest end of the lowbrow content.
Yeah, that's how we used to describe React style content anyway.
All it will do is stir up more negativity, more toxicity from a community that I don't want to appeal to. No, I want nothing to do with my detractors. Nothing to do with these lolcow morons who actually think that they have some benefit to people on Earth. They don't.
And I hate when he says statements like this too, because this is just one step above actually telling people to go do something that they might regret. DSP of all people is not allowed to tell anybody that they don't offer any value to anybody on this planet. Because not only is he a worthless alcoholic degenerate who can't take care of his house, his horse, or his cat, but also he's a terrible YouTuber who just spews garbage content on the internet and then has the audacity to come on stream every single day and beg actually disabled people for their social security disability income. You want to talk about no value? It's this guy right here. You want to talk about bottom of the barrel? It's this guy right here. This guy deserves everything that has happened to him and will continue to happen to him.
Again, anyone in these weirdo communities, these fringe communities, oh, let's make someone's life miserable so we can laugh at them. If these people vanished from Earth, if there was a rapture of anyone into lolcow culture right now, this planet would be a better place. Do you understand that?
I just want to point out that Ann did a charity stream the other day. Kevin does charity streams quite often. Me personally, part of my job as someone who deals with waste is reducing the amount that goes to landfills, therefore reducing the amount of pollution in the world. That's just a few examples of people who are into lolcow culture doing something good for somebody else. What does DSP do? Piles up styrofoam in his garage? Buys copious amounts of shit offline that he doesn't need so that he can throw it away later? Complain about having to sort his trash? How does that benefit the world to any extent? This gin-brained beggar hasn't left a single positive impression on anybody in this world, but has the audacity to act like if every person who's just even interested in lolcows disappeared off of the face of the earth, the world would be better.
It's sad, but it's true. These are people who waste their entire lives and efforts to make other people's lives miserable so they can laugh at it. They need to do that to feel good about themselves because they're so miserable themselves.
You ever just think that maybe it's something that they find interesting that they enjoy talking about? Therefore, they want to talk about it with somebody and they have found an audience of people who will want to talk about it as well and want to listen to them and they have an entertaining time doing it? Why has that never been an option, DSP? Why is it always somebody wasting their life and it makes them feel better because they're so miserable? The only person who's miserable in this equation is you. And I think that's part of the reason why so many people are intrigued by you. Because despite being in a situation that tons of people would love to be in, working from home, playing video games 6 days a week, you managed to be just an old, miserable curmudgeon. And people find that interesting. They wonder how you can be like this. How does this guy exist?
So I don't need to appeal to the scum of the earth. I don't need to make drama content for them. If I dropped everything I was doing today, I said, you know what? Forget Alan Wake 2. Today, we're watching the Boogie documentary, and I'm going to react to it all day. I would get attendance, I would get contributions, I would get a big spike in viewership. And here's what would happen. Number one, it would be incredibly short-lived. It wouldn't benefit this channel or anyone else in my community at all.
I don't think anybody specifically was saying that you should just not play your game for the day and instead do a Boogie documentary reaction. Obviously, if you were going to do something like that, you could just say, yeah, I actually do intend on reacting to it. It'll be on this weekend's React. Or you'll do a special event that you'll hype up for months and then just wind up not doing it anyway because you've been known to do that now. And to say that you wouldn't do it because it would be short-lived and it wouldn't help the channel and it wouldn't benefit anybody in the community is just silly. Because your preferred way to get support is through tips, which is also short-lived, not good for your channel in any way at all, and also it doesn't benefit anybody in your community because they receive actually no benefits from it. So really, if you did the Boogie reaction, you would wind up just getting money that you could use to pull Hogan's. Doesn't that sound like a grand idea?
It would be a complete opposite. It would bring toxicity. It would bring that element to the channels. They would want to be here all the time. They would want to derail the content. They would want to make it toxic and bad. I don't want that.
Well, DSP, I don't think that you would need these people in your stream chat to make your content toxic and bad. You can manage that all by yourself.
Number two, it would set me back on my positive stuff. I would be even further behind in the content that I like to make. I'd be further behind in games, further behind in vlogging, further behind in everything that I do.
And I really do hate to keep interrupting this often, but did he just say further behind in vlogging? When's the last time this dude did a vlog at all? Unless he's talking about his React content, but I don't think he is, because that's definitely not vlogging content. Sorry, I'll leave it alone. I'll just chalk it up to the gin brain.
Do I want to do that for temporary personal gain? No. Just like I don't want to take $50,000 from Keemstar to be on his piece of shit podcast that never would have happened because the guy's a fucking idiot and doesn't know how to run a business.
Oh my god, Keemstar doesn't know how to run a business, but y'all are the same age and he's retired with buku dollars and you filed for bankruptcy a couple of years ago. What the hell are you talking about? I know I say all the time that he's delusional, but he actually lives in a fantasy land. That's the only explanation for what he just said. Keemstar doesn't know how to run a business, but he runs actual fight promotions and did a show for multiple years that made him so much money you couldn't imagine it, DSP. The only business savvy thing that DSP has ever done is allegedly commit bankruptcy fraud.
I don't want to have any involvement with any of these fucking idiots because I know how bad and toxic it is. That's why I want to be isolated from it. I don't want my community involved in it. I don't want to be involved in it. That's been my goal this whole year. You understand? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pull myself out of the toxicity.
Well, you're definitely doing a great job today, DSP. This segment totally isn't dragging on, and you're totally not making this way worse than it had to be. You're doing great.
And so stop bringing it up. I don't need to hear about, there's a new documentary about one of these fucking idiots. I don't care about them at all. I couldn't care less about them. They had their chance to act like normal humans. They took the wrong choices, and now they're paying for it in droves.
Well, DSP, I would say that any normal human would absolutely have taken Keemstar's money over working with you. But regardless of that, it doesn't matter whether or not you're interested in talking about these people. It doesn't matter whether or not you're interested in watching the documentary at all, because you don't or shouldn't be able to control what your chat says. They should be allowed to talk about the things that they want to talk about, the things that they find interesting, the things that they have in common. That's what a community does. Often they talk amongst themselves and they should be allowed to do that. The weird stranglehold that you have to have on your chat at all times is completely regarded.
You make your bed and you sleep in it, right? That's what you got to do. So I'm here and I'm able to sit here and play games and have fun and enjoy myself and do what I do for a living and love it. And I can sleep at night. I don't have to worry about the fact that every moment that I put out content that I'm hurting someone by doing it, and I'm making money by tearing down others and making toxic shit. I don't have to do a react to a toxic documentary or a negative documentary about someone to make a buck. I don't have to do any of that shit. Do you understand how good that makes me feel? That I don't have to do toxic shit to get ahead?
It probably makes you feel as good as not having to work to make a living at all. What kind of a flex is this? I don't have to give anybody the content that they actually want to see because I can just sit here and beg all the dents for free cash and they'll give it to me so that I can continue to feed my addictions. What an absolute flex, dude. Thanks, I guess.
That I can be a positive dude and I control my own destiny. That's the difference between me and those people. They don't control their own destiny. They're either toxic or no one cares. They have zero relevance.
No, but DSP, they do control their own destiny because they're actually doing things that may or may not better their life. Whether it was to his benefit or not, Boogie actually participated in this documentary. That's more than you'll do. Whether it benefited Boogie or Wings, both of them went out into that boxing ring and did what they had to do to get their name out there and try and make some money. But you can't even be bothered to do your own Halloween event a couple of days late because you got sick. You couldn't even be bothered to fix your own internet so that you could stream and make money on your day off because you were just so busy. And I want to remind you as always that his internet was not actually out and he just couldn't read the chat on his laptop. He totally could have streamed the entire time. DSP is the person who's least in control of his destiny out of everybody because his entire business, if you even want to call it that, but his entire livelihood is held together by 3 or 4 whales. Those are the people that control DSP's destiny. Those are the people who get to pull the strings. The only reason that DSP gets to do what he does and live the way he does is because these people let him.
I actually have relevance to my audience. I built relevancy. I have 15 years of building relevancy where I can make content for people who want it and will support it.
But DSP, you're not relevant. The only time that you're relevant is in lolcow communities and people who watch lolcow. I honestly have a hard time believing that anybody actually watches you because they genuinely like you or enjoy your gameplay. Relevant is not an accurate term to describe you, DSP. You are infamous. People only know you because of the bad that you've done. At least some people have fond memories of watching old Boogie videos when he was doing his Francis character. At least some people enjoyed Wings being on PKA back in the day and watching his COD videos when they were coming out. What have you done, DSP? What videos do people have from your backlog that people enjoyed?
So I don't have to do that shit, nor will I ever stoop to that level. All right? Every once in a while, is it good to break stuff up? Yes, it is. Every once in a while, is it okay to react to a documentary like that? Sure. But not in the middle of the fucking busiest gaming season of the year.
So all that ranting he just did it, and it all really just boiled down to he's not going to do it right now because he's in the middle of the hardcore gaming season? Why did you waste all of our time talking about positivity on the world and disappearing off the face of the planet, this, that, and the other? Just say you're busy, dude. Say you'll do it on a different day. Put it off into the distance and tell people that you'll do it for some stupid event that you're going to skip.
Right? This is completely pointless. I don't care that someone released a documentary now. I don't give two fucks. It has nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear about it in my chat. I don't want people telling me about it. I want people asking me about it. I want nothing to do with that toxic shit. I've severed that cord this year on purpose so that we're not, and when I say we, I mean us as a community. It's not just about me. Guys have to understand that too. This is not just about me. This is about us.
Oh yeah, DSP, you're so concerned about your community and what they have to deal with. Those people that you lean in manual on a moment's notice. Those people that you publicly humiliate for talking about anything other than you in the chat. Those same people that you scammed out of a Halloween event that you said that you were going to do and even got all of the planning together and made them vote on a bunch of shit for. Yeah, you totally care about all of those people and it shows.
Because every moment that I involve myself with those people, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a business proposition, whether it's a documentary react, whatever it is, you guys get negatively affected. You get dragged down into it too. How many people told me for 2 months after that fucking interview earlier this year, man, Phil, that was the worst choice you ever made because now we all had to put up with it for 2 months. And it's, and you're right. Because as much as that interview served the purpose, because it did, if you guys haven't noticed something, since that interview happened, it actually served its purpose. What was the purpose?
To be the biggest thing that's happened to you in multiple years. To be #1 in the worst moments of DSP countdown this year. To give us the absolute banger that is They Were Right. Big up Smearcat for that one.
Now, anyone who wants to talk about that stupid toxic bullshit, the mobile game fabricated nonsense, go watch the interview. And believe me or not, in that interview, I don't care, but at least it's all in one spot. You don't have to come to my streams to bug me about it anymore. And it worked. Have you guys noticed that? People don't come to the streams to talk about that drama anymore. It's done. The interview served its purpose and ended that line of discussion, and we don't have to talk about it anymore because it's already been discussed. And even other people, I told you, what's that guy's name? Mudahar, some ordinary gamers. He came to me behind the scenes and he offered me $5,000 this year to do an interview talking about it. I said, no.
And you're misrepresenting what happened now. Because Mudahar did contact you behind the scenes and offer you $5,000 to do an interview with you and pay you for your time, obviously. But what you said was that he specifically wanted to address the side-scroller's interview. But that's not what happened at all in the original telling of the story. You said yourself that you basically gave him an entire list of things that he was and wasn't allowed to ask about, and then he proceeded to ghost you, justifiably so. Because no interviewer worth their salt is gonna even give that the time of day. The subject of the interview should not be allowed to tell you what you can and can't ask, what subjects are and aren't okay. That makes for a terrible interview and terrible content in general, and would look poorly upon Mudahar, so obviously he wasn't gonna go through with that because it would be a waste of his time and detrimental to his image.
I don't need your money. I don't need your time. I've already talked about it. We're done. That was the whole point. I'm not going back to the same ground and retreading it a million times to give you the same answers. You're wasting everyone's time. You're barking up the wrong tree. And that was the end of him, and he has no interest in talking to me ever again because all he wants to talk about is drama. You see? So there you go. So, I don't have to pay attention to that nonsense.
Was that seriously 3 chews on that water? That's 1 more chew than normal. How thick is that water that you had to chew it 3 times? Sorry, if you guys come to the stream, you're well aware that I am a big fan of the sip and chew combo.
So, very simply put, don't involve me in it. Don't bring it up. Want nothing to do with any of their toxic shit. And if I see it in the chat, I'm going to kick your ass out. I don't care about the Boogie documentary. I don't care about what Wings is doing. I don't care about what Keemstar said. I don't care about what this one farted today. I don't care about this one has a wart on his face. I don't give 2 fucks about any of them.
You hear that, Dent? So add that to the never-ending list of things that you aren't allowed to talk about in DSP's chat. You can put it right next to sports.
None of them are pertinent. Do you understand? Let me explain in the plainest possible terms. Okay? None of those people are pertinent to us. None of them. They have nothing to do with us. They want to be involved with us so very badly. That's why. When you are someone who refuses to be involved in something, you will notice that everyone will want you involved.
The way that he specifically says that other people have nothing to do with us and that they want to be involved with us, it comes off very cult-like, especially when he says it the way he did. I mean, you could just imagine this guy in front of his dent head congregation, preaching the good word of his gouty cult.
Why do you think I'm the hot commodity that they wanted on the podcast, and I was the linchpin that was going to make that podcast work and all of that? Because when you are in demand and you refuse to stoop to that level, all of a sudden you're the most in demand person.
Yeah, it totally had nothing to do with you being the biggest lol cow of them all.
Right? They want it. They want us in there involved. But fuck them. They don't deserve our time and attention. Us, not just me. This is about us as a community. They don't deserve our time and attention.
This is just so cringe. DSP acting like him and his community's time and attention is actually worth anything at all. What an absolute buffoon. DSP, you're nobody. You make garbage content on the internet. You're suffering from those delusions of grandeur that you're always talking about. Shut the hell up and move on already. Jesus Christ.
None of them deserve a single moment of our time. Every moment that we avoid them and we do other things is more positive, more productive, and more important to the human condition than anything that we could do involving them.
Jesus Christ, the human condition. Yes, DSP, because you're such a humanitarian putting out your garbage content all over the internet for everyone to see. Yeah, you're really benefiting the human condition. He's just so insufferable when he talks like this. His inflated self-ego was just astounding. He's a guy who sits on his ass and plays video games for a living, and even then it's not actually a living because he has to beg the entire time. This dude acts like every single video that he puts out onto the internet is the Mona Lisa. When I've seen actual piles of garbage that have more entertainment value than all of DSP's content combined. But he's sitting here acting like he deserves a Nobel Prize for benefiting the human condition or something.
Get it? We're better than that. We don't have to waste our time on them. So ignore them. Seriously, ignore that nonsense. I know there will be videos about this. There will be trash. We are better than that. We don't have to waste time on that trash. Okay? We always will be better than that. You understand? As long as we stay out of it. So I will stay out of it.
There's some more cult speak for you. I really should cut out all of those parts and upload them in a separate video for DSP's cult talk. That's an idea.
I've committed to you guys earlier this year. Man, let me tell you guys, it's hard. It's fucking hard. Because they try all the time to drag me into their shit. Constantly. They try every possible tactic. You know? Maybe I'll try to be friendly to him today. Maybe I'll talk shit about him today. Maybe I'll name drop him over here. We'll make a video about him. We'll do this. We'll do that. And thankfully, I have done a really good job this year staying out of it. And I think a lot of people are grateful for that, right?
No, you stupid idiot. You've done a goddamn awful job. You're terrible at everything you do, including staying out of drama, because you constantly name drop other content creators, like I said, at least once a week. All you do is lie. Anyone who's still willing to believe you absolutely deserves the scam that they're falling for.
You know, again, as much as it would be personally in the short term beneficial to this channel and to my business to do that drama content, I refuse. I don't see the actual benefit of stooping to that level and wasting all of our time doing it, okay? So please, don't mention it. I don't care about it. Ignore it. You want to know, I always tell everyone, here's the best way, right? Here's the absolute best way to go about this. You come to my streams every day. We relax, we interact, we play games, we talk. That's it. Pay no attention to any of the white noise outside of this stream because I don't.
Yeah, you totally don't pay attention to any of those things whatsoever. That's why you just spent 14 minutes at normal speed talking about it. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories.
I literally don't. Today, I couldn't know if anyone even mentioned me today because I don't pay attention. I don't, you know, I'm sure there's a million videos about me being sick and all these insane conspiracy theories about it. I haven't seen a single one. I don't care. Just ignore all of it. Just sit here and watch the content and ignore all the white noise.
Oh, DSP definitely watches detractor content. He's well aware that people are theorizing about his sickness. Don't get that twisted.
You see it in your related videos. Oh my God, here's a slander video. Block, block, not interested, block, block. Shut it all out. It's all nonsense. It's all idiots trying to pull us into their drama for their own benefit, and they don't deserve our time and attention. So fuck them. Every one of them.
Hey, there's more cult speak. I like that DSP's recommendation to his fans when they come across detractor content is to not watch it, block it, and don't believe anything that they say. He doesn't even trust them to be rational enough to come to their own conclusions. Because even he is aware that the only conclusion that you can come to if you actually watch detractor content and listen to anything that they have to say is that DSP is a liar and a scammer. And obviously it wouldn't be good if they found that out.
Right? Again, I really tried to be a nice guy this year to people. I tried to reach out and branch out and even do a collab. They slapped me in the face for their own personal gain. Now they can live with their decisions. Fuck them. Right? We're better than that. Okay.
Wow, I'm actually glad that that's finally over. The guy really got under my skin today, and I don't know why. It was just normal DSP shenanigans. But regardless, I hope that all of you enjoyed. Another big shout out to Snort Hogan for the clip. I really appreciate it. And of course, big ups to all of you guys for watching, especially those of you who are still watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully some of you can come by for the Saturday morning stream at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, it's all cool. The VOD will go up shortly after, and you guys can watch that if you can't catch the stream live. But hopefully I can catch all of you guys in the next video. But until until then, make sure that you check out other detractor channels and dive deeper into that Snortex.